I've been on that MSNBC, mate. It was propagandist nutcrackery on there. I went on a show called Morning Joe. It was absurd the way they carried on.
Good Morning Joe.
Yes. I don't know what it was. It wasn't morning. There was no one called Joe there. No one could concentrate. They didn't understand the basic tenets of journalism. No one was willing to stick up for genuine American heroes like Edward Snowden. No one was willing to talk about Julian Assange and what he's suffered trying to bring real journalism to the American people.
All right, guys, so we got to talk about a very explosive but also very entertaining episode of Bill Maher's show featuring Russell Brand, who went off on MSNBC analyst / host John Heilemann on the hypocrisy of MSNBC, always trying to call out Fox News for being fake news, okay? Unreliable news, you know? They're always trying to say that, you know, Fox News is a propaganda outlet, when we all know that MSNBC is doing the exact same thing, right? If you're going to criticize Fox News for that, MSNBC deserves the same amount of criticism. And Russell Brand basically goes off on this guy, okay, causes him to melt down over the fact that, again, MSNBC is just as guilty as Fox News at doing the things that MSNBC accuses Fox News of doing. But in my opinion, I think MSNBC is much worse than Fox News. So I want to talk about this clip. But before I get in this clip, I got a couple disclaimers here that I have to give to you guys in all transparency. Now, there's a part of this clip where Russell Brand talks about the hypocrisy and how wrong MSNBC was at trying to frame Joe Rogan and when he was taking ivermectin. Now, I have to leave that part out of this clip because YouTube will give me a medical misinformation strike for it. The FDA / CDC has not approved ivermectin for what Joe Rogan was taking it for. And that part of that clip, I don't want to put in the video because, again, I'm probably going to get a strike. And I just want to tell you guys that in full transparency so that you guys kind of understand what's going on here. So without further ado, let's go ahead and roll the clip.
John, I've not known you long, but I love you already. But I have to say that it's disingenuous to claim that the biases that are exhibited on Fox News are any different from the biases exhibited on MSNBC. It's difficult to suggest that these corporations operate as anything other than mouthpieces for their affiliate owners in BlackRock and Vanguard. And unless we start to embrace, and also, mate, like just spiritually, if I may use that word in your great country, we have to take responsibility for our own perspective. I've been on that MSNBC, mate. It was propagandist nutcrackery on there. I went on a show called Morning Joe. It was absurd the way they carried on.
Good Morning Joe.
I don't know what it was. It wasn't morning. There was no one called Joe there. No one could concentrate. They didn't understand the basic tenets of journalism. No one was willing to stick up for genuine American heroes like Edward Snowden. No one was willing to talk about Julian Assange and what he's suffered trying to bring real journalism to the American people. And I think to sit within the castle of MSNBC throwing rocks at Fox News is ludicrous. Make MSNBC better. Make MSNBC great again.
My friend, I would the moment
fight them on a territory you can win on, Joe.
Russell, darling, the moment that you give me a specific example, an actual example.
Okay, I'll give you one.
Wait, just wait. Wait.
Just we need a specific example.
How about a specific? Let me tell you what the specific I'd like to hear of. I'd like to hear a specific example, a provable specific example of an MSNBC correspondent or anchor being on television saying something they knew was false, and we're saying behind the scenes to people, I'm about to go out, and we know that the election wasn't stolen or something equivalent.
Example.
But I will go out on television and say the opposite. I will lie.
When's my answer?
Just give me the specific example.
I understand the basic point.
Give me a specific example.
All right.
I'm with you. I think it's a false equivalency, Russell.
No, it's not. That's your own biases, plainly.
It's not about bias. It's a false equivalency because you don't actually know anything about any of these organizations you're talking about. You've been on MSNBC once. big fucking deal.
My darling, it was more than enough.
You can't come up with
such a
that.
carry-on.
You don't have a single actual fact.
Do you want an example? Do you want an example?
Yes.
The ludicrous, outrageous criticisms of Joe Rogan around ivermectin.
Yeah, that's not a bad
Rachel
example.
Maddow turning up on the TV saying, if you take this vaccine, you're not going to get it, when it hadn't been clinically trialed for transmission.
Non-responsive.
You have to listen.
Wait.
Do you think you can improve America by determinedly and avowedly condemning Fox News without acknowledging that you're participating in the same game? Did you not just listen to Bernie Sanders, someone who plainly, legitimately believes in this country and believes it's possible to change, but is bound by corruption, is bound by the lobbying system? Surely it's clear to you, Bill, as one of the great pundits and experts and comic voices, that systemic change is required. Money has to be taken out of politics. We need new political systems that genuinely represent ordinary Americans so that we can overcome cultural differences. And bickering about which propagandist network is the worst is not going to save a single American life, not improve the life of a single American child, not going to improve America's standing in the world, and the world needs a strong America. I'll tell you that. I'll tell you that. So you have an obligation, a duty, not to condemn these people.
Yeah, so again, I think Russell Brand has a point about the fact that this guy is sitting on his high horse because he's an alleged journalist, right? You know, these guys, again, they have credentials, okay? They went to school, they went to Ivy League school, okay? They got an education, okay? So they don't like people like Russell Brand and Joe Rogan, who has a much bigger audience than they do, right? They get more viewership than they do, okay? They're more relevant than they are, and they don't have nearly as much credentials as them, right? So guys like him, again, they think they're above everybody else, right? They think they're above, you know, the opinion hosts on the internet, the Rogans, the Russell Brands of the world. You know, they think they're above that, right? MSNBC can't be criticized. Anything that MSNBC says about Fox News is 100% legitimate, and MSNBC doesn't participate in any of that stuff, right? Because they're just 100% straight journalism when that's clearly not the case, okay? It's not 100% facts. Again, I can go further than Richard Brandt, right? We can talk about the Hunter Biden story. Okay, again, a reputable outlet, the New York Post, posted a story on Hunter Biden, and MSNBC basically came out and said that it wasn't true, when it was a 100% true story. MSNBC either said that it was Russian disinformation or dismissed it as it's not important, right? It's not important. American people should know that the President of the United States may be bought and sold by China and Ukraine through business dealings with his son. American people should know about that, right? It's nothing to worry about. Not a big story, not a big deal. They participated in Russiagate, okay, pushing that nonsense, okay, that again turned out to be false as well too. They also denied the lab leak theory, right? Joy Reid came out and just straight up said, yeah, it's false. Like, it's been debunked. COVID did not leak from a lab. And now 2 or 3 years later, you have the FBI and Biden's energy department saying, yeah, I mean, that this is what we think happened. Rachel Maddow made claims about the vaccine in regards to the effectiveness of the vaccine and what it does that were just not true, right? They were not true considering how people who were vaccinated were still getting the virus. They were still getting COVID, okay? Again, she made false claims on air. Also, an Obama judge ruled that Rachel Maddow is not a source of information for facts, okay? That she is an opinion host and that her viewers should not take anything she says as factual, okay? So an Obama-appointed judge basically has said that Rachel Maddow is fake news, right? She's Joe Rogan, she's Russell Brand, right? She's not an actual real journalist, okay? She's not giving you straight news and straight facts. She's just giving you her opinion, okay? An Obama judge came to that conclusion. Another thing that MSNBC does that they accuse Fox News of doing, but MSNBC is much more overtly guilty of this, is race baiting, right? It's trying to get people angry or to turn Americans against each other based off of race, okay? What MSNBC traffics in is anti-white racism and hatred, right? They try to stir up hatred towards white people and to get a certain crowd of people upset against white people, right? And also as well too, they do this with MAGA as well too. I mean, again, I would go as far as to say I think that MSNBC is basically sponsoring terrorism against the GOP, right? So they do a whole lot of that as well too. Okay, they always accuse Fox News of trying to get white people angry and upset with black folks and so-called people of color, but MSNBC does the exact opposite, and they're much more overt about it. I mean, Joy Reid and Tiffany Cross who's fired, okay? Yeah, I mean, they just openly spew anti-white racism on their shows, right? I mean, it's overt, okay? It's overt. At least with Fox News, if you're gonna make the argument about what Fox News is doing, it's more covert, right? It's more kind of, not in your face. But at MSNBC, it's in your face. Okay, so again, this outlet is just as guilty, if not more guilty, of all the things they accuse Fox News of doing. Okay, and you can criticize Fox News for, the whole election stuff, okay? The news about Fox News, where everybody is talking about, that liberal media is using this as a way to smear Fox News. They're saying, well, behind the scenes, the anchors, the hosts at Fox News didn't really believe Trump's election claims, okay? And they say, hey, well, this is proof that, Fox News is biased. They can't be trusted. The anchors are not really, telling you what they believe. They're not telling you the truth. And I can say, hey, yeah, if that is true, okay, that the Fox News anchors didn't believe Trump's claims, yeah, you can say that Fox News has a bias towards saying things that their audience wants to hear, right? You can say they have a bias towards that, but MSNBC has an establishment bias. They're biased towards saying things that goes along with the establishment, whether it's true or not, right? Again, both of those things are not good, okay? But again, when you talk about certain things, okay, that are against the establishment, like Russell Brand brought up, Julian Assange, Edward Snowden, actually talking about them sticking up for real journalists that are exposing the corruption of the establishment, of the deep state, of the government, MSNBC will never, ever touch a topic like that. Well, why is that? It's because, again, that clearly goes against the establishment. They have an establishment bias, okay? That's clearly what it is. So, yeah, I mean, look, there are criticisms for Fox News, but MSNBC is not immune from those criticisms. I mean, again, MSNBC is much worse than Fox News, at least with Tucker Carlson. Tucker Carlson, you can say, well, he has a bias towards saying things that his audience wants to hear, okay? But at the very least, he at least seems like he will go after the establishment. He will do stories that go against the establishment, that go against the grain. Okay, he will actually try to participate in some real journalism, not just push things that the Washington elites and the Democrat Party want you to push, right? He actually does attack the Republican Party. He goes after the Republican Party just like he goes after the Democrats. I don't think he's just playing for a team, right? But on MSNBC, clearly every single anchor on that network is playing for the team, and the team is Democrat, right? They're playing for Team Democrat, okay? And the establishment, whatever the establishment wants, that's what they go along with on that network. So, yeah, I mean, again, MSNBC getting all upset at Fox News and CNN criticizing Fox News, it's like the pot calling the kettle black, right? Except in this case, the pot, okay, MSNBC and CNN that's calling the kettle black, they're much blacker, right? They're pitch black, okay? Can't be seen, really, okay? And I'm just saying, like, they have no room to really be going off on Fox News about having some type of bias or not being a reputable source of news, because those networks aren't either, right? They have their own flaws, okay? Much worse flaws than Fox News. So let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.